All right, today we're going to demystify one of the most powerful tools in all of tech, the Linux command line. I'm telling you, this is the hidden engine that powers so much of the internet and the cloud. And we're going to get comfortable with it starting right now. You know the feeling? You open up a terminal for the first time and you just see that blinking cursor on a black screen. It can feel a little bit intimidating. Like, what do I even type? If you've ever felt that, you are definitely not alone. But trust me, by the end of this, you're going to see it in a whole new light.
So let's reframe this. That cursor isn't a wall trying to keep you out. No way. Think of it as the most direct, the most efficient, and honestly, the most powerful way you can talk to your computer. It gives you incredible fine-grained control.
But hang on. Before we start typing away, let's take one step back and answer the big question. Why? Why is learning this so important in the first place? What's the big deal with Linux?
Well, here's the thing. Linux pretty much runs the modern world. It is the dominant force on servers, powering all the big names you can think of. It's the natural home for all the cool, game-changing tech like Docker and Kubernetes. And beyond that, it makes things so much easier. You get these things called package managers that make installing software simple and predictable. And because it's open source, you have this amazing flexibility. You're never locked into one company's way of doing things. So what's the bottom line? If you're going to work in tech, especially in areas like DevOps or cloud engineering, knowing your way around a terminal isn't just a nice-to-have skill. It's absolutely essential.
Okay, let's get our bearings. I want you to think of this whole thing like you're exploring a brand new city. You wouldn't just start wandering around, right? No, first, you'd want to look at a map. In the Linux world, our map is called the file system. And right away, here's the first big difference, especially if you're used to something like Windows. You know how you have a C drive and a D drive? Forget all that. In Linux, everything, and I mean every file, every folder, every single device, it all lives under one single giant tree. The very, very top of that tree is called root, and it's represented by just a single /. Everything else branches out from there. So since we have this map, there are two ways to talk about a location. The first is an absolute path. This is like a full, complete mailing address. It starts right from the root, that single /, and it tells you the exact, no questions asked location of a file. The other way is a relative path. This is more like giving directions from where you're standing right now, like saying, oh, it's just in the room next door. It's a shortcut, and it's all based on your current location. All right, let's do a quick little tour of the main neighborhoods on our map. First, you have the root, that single /, the starting point for everything. Then you have /home. This is where every user on the system gets their own personal folder. /etc, it's kind of like the system's brain. It's where all the big configuration files live. And then there's /var, which is where things that change a lot, like system log files, are kept. Just knowing about these few places will help you navigate with a ton more confidence. Okay, so we've got the map, we understand the layout, now what? Well, now we need some tools, right? We need the gear to actually move around this city and see what's inside the buildings. So let's build our essential toolkit. The very first tool, and this is going to be your new best friend, I promise, is PWD. Anytime you feel a little lost, you're not sure where you are, just type PWD and hit enter. Bam! It's like a big red "You Are Here" pin on your map. It spits out your exact location so you can get your bearings. All right, you know where you are. The next question is obvious. What's around me? That's what ls is for. You type ls, and it just lists all the files and folders in your current spot. It's like looking around the room you're in. Super simple, super useful. So you see a folder you want to go into. How do you actually get there? You use cd, which stands for Change Directory. This is your car, your subway, your way of getting around. But wait, I'm about to give you the one tip that will literally change your life on the command line. It's called tab completion. Just type cd and the first letter or two of a directory's name, then hit the tab key. The system will fill in the rest for you. It's not just a time saver, it prevents typos. Seriously, it's like magic. Okay, last tool in our starter kit. Let's say you just want to see what's inside a text file, but you don't want to bother opening a whole big editor. That's what cat is for. You just type cat and the file name, and it prints the entire contents right there on your screen. It's perfect for taking a quick peek inside a config file or a log. So we've got our basic tools, PWD, ls, cd, and cat. And yeah, they're super useful on their own, but this is where it gets really good. The real jaw-dropping superpower of the command line isn't in using these commands one by one, it's in how you connect them. And this, to me, is the most beautiful part of the whole philosophy.
You can literally take the output from one command and just feed it directly into the next one as its input. This is called piping, and it lets you build these incredibly powerful, complex workflows out of tiny, simple tools.
Let me show you a classic example. Let's say you want to see if a specific program is running. You could run a command like psaux, and it would just dump a massive list of every single thing running on your computer. It's a giant haystack. But then you use this little vertical bar symbol. That's the pipe. It takes that whole giant list and sends it over to our next command, grep. Now, grep is just a simple filter. We tell it, hey, only show me the lines that have SSHD in them. And just like that, poof, the giant haystack disappears, and you are left with the one single needle you were looking for. That is the essence of command line power.
Now you know the saying, with great power comes great responsibility. The command line is incredibly powerful and fast, which also means you can make a big mess really, really fast if you're not careful. So let's wrap up with a few critical safety rules.
Think of this as your safety net. First, before you ever use a destructive command like rm to remove a file, just quickly run pwd to make absolutely sure you're in the right place. Second, double-check your spelling on paths. But the really big one, be extremely careful with the sudo command. That gives you God mode on your system, so please, never, ever run a command with sudo unless you know exactly what it does. These simple habits will save you from some major headaches down the road.
So look how far we've come. We went from that intimidating, blinking cursor to understanding the map, getting our basic tools, and even learning how to combine them for superpowers. You now have the fundamental keys to the kingdom. That command line isn't a barrier anymore. It's a doorway. So, the only question is, what are you going to explore first?